Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Apex Legends video. My name is Sweat if you guys are new, and in today's video, guys, we are continuing the series where we are improving on your biggest weaknesses and hopefully turning them into strengths and strong suits of your game in Apex Legends. Today, we are focusing on episode 5, which is going to be positioning. And I know a lot of you have been asking about where this series went, and I kind of got a little distracted with the #1 series because both of these series are very popular on the channel. So I do apologize. I do want to make a couple more of these videos before we call it wraps on this series, so stay tuned for that. But if you guys want to see episode 6 of this series, whatever it might be, I need you guys to obliterate the like button on this video. I asked for 3,000 likes in the last one. Let's raise the bar a little bit to 3,500 likes, and we will be making an episode 6 in the series. You should know the deal by now. We're going to take a look at some tweets, shout out some people on Twitter for suggesting this video, and then we're going to hop into the tips and then some gameplay breakdown. Without further ado, guys, let's get into it. All right, so like I said before, I got to give a quick shout out to all the people on Twitter who requested this video. If you're not already following me on Twitter, I really don't know what you're doing. I'm kind of a funny guy. I don't know if you guys have noticed. Okay, maybe not really so much, but still go follow my Twitter because I do interact with most of you guys on there, and it's a great platform for getting to know me better. But anyways, let's get into some tips. All right, guys, the first tip today is going to be getting high ground. And whenever anybody asks me about positioning, what is the key to positioning, Sweat? Where should I be placing myself in matches so that I have the upper hand advantage almost at all times? The first thing that comes to mind always is high ground, okay? What getting high ground will do is it's going to give, first of all, it's going to give your enemies a very tough angle for you to shoot at, okay? So when they're shooting up at you, it's a lot harder for them to hit you than when they're shooting down at you. And another thing to add along with that is that when you're on high ground, if you crack an enemy down below you, let's say on the bottom floor of a building or something, you can always jump down onto that enemy. When you're on high ground, though, the enemy really has to work their way around the building, maybe take a zip line up to you, maybe grapple up to you, or Valk fly up to you. There's not as many options, and if they're playing a immobile character especially, they're not going to be able to get to you at high ground. So that's why I always suggest playing high ground if possible. All right, everybody, so the next tip is one that is very overlooked by a lot of people, and a lot of people know about this tip, but they don't really fully understand in depth why you really need to be doing it, and that's playing in cover always. Okay, 99.9% of the time you want to be playing pieces of cover. So you want to position yourself. Let's say you're behind a piece of cover, you can move easily to another piece of cover with taking minimal damage and being out in the open for a very minimal amount of time. The reason being is people will have a very tough time getting shots on you. I've also talked about this in the past, the 50-50 rule or the 60-40 rule in certain scenarios. You'll always want to have about 40 or 50% of your screen covered by a piece of cover so that it's easier for you to win the gunfight. You always want to be drawing enemies out in the open. You do not want to be the one out in the open, as I always say. All right, so the third tip today is going to be being in a spot that isn't easily third-partied. Now, guys, I've talked about this many times. When you're fighting a squad, you always want to be checking your back, checking your surroundings at all times, because you do not want to lose a game by getting third-partied and shot in the back. And I notice a lot of people doing this. 90% of the gameplays that I review in the past, I've noticed that a lot of people don't actively check their backs and aren't in a position, like I mentioned earlier, maybe high ground or a piece of cover that can easily be turned on the enemy that is going to be third-partying. Obviously, high ground is the most dominant position, and if a team wants to third-party you on high ground, it's going to be quite the hike compared to if you're on low ground or just standing in the open. So that's where playing cover comes in, and that's where all these tips so far tie together into this one in being in a spot that isn't easily third-partied. All right, and the last tip before we hop into the gameplay review is a pretty simple one. It should be known to every single player that's ever played Apex Legends in their lives. Being in zone and positioning yourself in a spot where the zone is not going to hurt you and catch you is pretty obvious. The reason that you don't want to be caught in zone, though, that a lot of people don't understand, other than taking damage, obviously, nobody wants to be taking zone damage, but people can easily hold you out. People will know that you're in zone most of the time because you have those people that'll just play the edge of zone for easy kills, and that is honestly one of the easiest way to get kills, is waiting at the edge of zone for somebody to run in late, and people will be doing that. Trust me, there is a lot of skeevers out there. Skeevers meaning people that just like wait on the edge of zone for easy kills because they don't really want to fight in zone, and I don't know how to explain it really better than that, but make sure you guys are always in zone. You don't want to take zone damage. You do not want to be held out for sure. All right, everybody, so we're gonna hop into the gameplay review portion of the video now. We are in Fragment on World's Edge. We're playing a duos match, and we're trying to hold the top layer of this sweaty 3-stack building. There's a couple teams converging on me, so I think this is a good example of most of the tips that I talked about earlier on in this video, if not all of them. So let's get into it here. These guys come up the zip line instantly, get the knock on Octane. And right there, I go for the phase, and the Wraith actually jumps down the zip line. So that's why I didn't fully jump off the roof at first. But then I lost kind of like I didn't completely know exactly where she was. So I ended up jumping down and taking the battery. But it's very good to know that I have that knock, so it's a 1v1 situation. This guy's got me. So I thought I heard her going back up to the top. Turns out she actually was. She's going to get the res off. So I'm going to take the zip line back up to 3rd story. I'm going to attack this from a different angle because they have high ground. And like I was saying earlier, guys, high ground is the best spot to be. So I'm trying to get that knock again on the Octane. I take a guess that he'll be on the staircase. Turns out I caught him at a perfect time so that I could down him. And so right there, I know I'm at a massive disadvantage. And I also hear a third-party team coming along. So I don't want to go up that zip line because he's probably going to be checking that zip line. And I'm kind of just going to play it slow from down low. Trying to get an angle from the side of the building here. And now, once I take this cell, I'm just playing it very cautiously. I'm waiting to see what's happening. Are they going to keep fighting?
I don't know what to do.
As you can tell, I didn't know what to do. Well, I did know what to do, but... And that is a very underrated play there, what I just did, okay? Throwing a thermite on the roof, because I know at least one team is on the roof. It's either the Wraith and the Octane, or it's the third-party team. Throwing that thermite on the roof is basically going to distract them and deafen them. They're not going to be able to hear me climbing up or taking the zip line if I choose to. So that's why I threw that. I decided to climb up from the side. You guys can tell I'm instantly retaking height, which is perfect. So now I'm playing the top of the zip line. I have dominant positioning. I see this Wraith over here, get some decent shots on her. But I'm very worried about the third party. You can tell that I'm not solely focusing on her because I don't want to get third party and get shot in the back. I go back up to height just to make sure. And they're actually fighting on the bottom. So this is the point in time where I was talking about earlier. If somebody is below you, you always have the opportunity to jump on them and then retake height if you want later on. So I jump on these guys and third party them. Shoot this Revenant in the back and get the knock, and actually almost down the other guy that he was shooting at. I run down the stairs. I get some good shots on the lifeline, and I know I have way more shields than her. So I jump down and I wipe the squad. And in that situation, let's just say, for example, because I want to give you guys a little bit more of an example in case you are in different situations, because I obviously can't cover every single positioning situation. Let's say, for example, that lifeline cracked me, okay? She got the damage that I actually did on her, and I was like 50 HP. I would probably immediately go up to the zip line, take the zip line all the way up, and either phase out, take a battery, or just watch the top of the zip line in case she ends up pushing me. But in all likely scenarios, if she actually did damage me that much, she'd probably just go for the res because it's a lifeline. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to give you a little more of a perspective about what I'm thinking and what's going through my head. So let's move on to the next clip. All right, everybody, so this next scenario is actually one that we end up losing, and I know you guys can learn a lot from my mistakes as well as my successes. So I did want to show a failure in there as well so that you guys can learn a little bit more, and some things that I actually do wrong as well maybe can help my own gameplay out with this series. So right now there is 2 squads left. They're both full teams, and I am just kind of ratting it out because in this situation, I don't want to get focused by both teams, and one team was already behind me, one team was in front of me, so I had to end up trying to pinch them, and that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying to end up getting the perfect third party so that I can win the game here.
Don't you dare see me.
He didn't see me. They end up trying to fight each other, which is perfect.
Get it.
But they didn't fully engage, which kind of sucked.
Guys, win these. Trust me.
So this Loba ends up going behind me, and by doing that, she puts me in a very awkward scenario, okay? Now she's behind me. I'm the one pinched in the middle of these two teams. And I'm not going to lie to you. It might have honestly just been the Loba. I said it was 2 full teams, but I'm not completely sure in this situation. But like I said before, the Loba goes behind me. Now I'm the one pinched in the middle, so I decided to take the angle around the rock cell over here. Rock shell, not rock cell. What the heck am I talking about? The rock shell, and I'm just waiting for a knock.
Yeah, go, guys. Yeah, do it. Fight.
I basically want them to fight so that I can third party and end up winning the game. Fortunately, it didn't turn out the way I had planned it out in my head because I waited a little bit too long. Like I said, I thought it was 2.
If they check here, it's gonna be like, why? Why exactly?
Well, they should be checking there. Sweatband. I don't know what you're talking about. It's a good spot to check for a rat. All right, so this Loba gets stunned by whatever, the Valkyrie stuff. And like I said, I didn't know it was one person. So she's going to take the bounce pad over towards them. I should have instantly pushed. But like I said, I did not know it was only one person. So that's where I made the mistake. Normally, when they're shooting at this solo, I would have pushed in, maybe got a knock from behind on the 2-man team, and then worried about the last guy on a solo 1v1. And this is where I really messed up here. The Loba ends up taking it towards them. I'm playing it very cautiously. I thought it was 2, like I said. So they get the knock, and it's a full kill, unfortunately. I don't have the best shots on this lifeline. Right? Or, not lifeline. Octane. 133 on him. I missed the headshot.
Oh, it was a different guy.
And then hit the valve.
No, I choked those.
Yeah, so I ended up just shooting the other guy. Like, I did probably 350 damage to that team combined. Didn't get a knock. It was very unfortunate in my part. Like I said, that's a lot of game sense, game knowledge. I really couldn't tell if it was 2 or 1 person, but I should have gauged it by just how the fight was going on. So that is where I made that mistake. But positioning wise right there, I mean, I think I made the right decisions. I just didn't push in enough to third party and win the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It has been Sweat. Drop a like, subscribe if you guys are new. I will catch you in the next one, and peace out.